And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Always Pressing PGA DFS podcast, previewing the 2025 Waste Management Phoenix Open. It is go time, everybody. This is where the kickoff pretty much takes place on the PGA Tour. For some, we've been going this whole time, but this is where business picks up, as they say. So we're going to preview that, recap Pebble, and probably a little bit more. TGL had a big week and other things. But before we get to that, you can find me on Twitter at BDintric, the podcast at Always Press DFS, and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at DFS Golf Guys. Jesse, how we doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. We talked about TGL because we did this.
Right.
We did the recording on Tuesday, and that happened on Monday.
That's right. Well, that brings me to my next complaint. Is now this week's TGL is on Tuesday, and it's at
9
is it really?
Eastern.
It's on 9 Eastern instead of 6. My point last week about it's always on a different day and time. Here we go.
I mean, that's the truth, dude. I mean, you just got to make it Monday nights,
Yes.
Especially
not during
this time of
season.
year.
Yes,
right. I mean, you could do it, start at 6:30, and then roll that straight into Kansas and Iowa State tonight.
It'd be perfect.
Yeah, instead of Kentucky's going to play Ole Miss on ESPN at 7. So when that goes over a little bit, which probably will, then you're going to cut into that time. But 9 o'clock start for that seems late.
Yeah, it seems late, especially with a decent matchup with Boston and Rory's team versus the LA boys and Rosie and company. It's honestly like looking at the 3-on-3. I know I'm kind of tongue in cheek. It actually is a fun little matchup between the two teams on Tuesday. And if they can build off that success from this past week, that'd be nice. But again, going back to let's get a little consistency in life. Creatures of habit, just give me something. And apparently that's not the case. They're just at the mercy of college basketball right now. So we'll see how that changes after March with this whole process. But
right. Yeah. But then when does the season end for TGL?
That's a great question. I'll Google it right now.
Because it to me, it would be a better, and I know it's not necessarily ideal, but it would be a better summertime thing because no offense, but you only got baseball going on during that time.
Well, and it makes sense too because in the summer they're more on the East Coast, Florida swing, all that stuff. So
right.
Like right now, Rory played this past Monday, flew to Pebble, is flying back for a Tuesday. He's not playing in the in Waste Management, of course, but when they're setting that schedule up, they're contacting all these guys and going, "Hey, does each team have 3 players not playing in Phoenix?
Right,
that's a problem." type thing. We got to see how that goes. And this is the best part. So I just Googled it. The regular season runs from January to early April, followed by the playoffs in mid-April, best of 3 final series to crown the champion.
Oh, in mid-April, right? Yeah, right around the Masters time.
That makes what are we doing?
It would be better in the fall, but then you're competing against the NFL. But however, the NFL does not play on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah, even if you don't want to play against Maction, just do Tuesdays.
Right,
all yours. Tuesday is your night. Do whatever you want on Tuesday night.
Yeah, the fall makes more sense to me than anything. Yep. Summer second, spring and winter just don't make any sense to me. But
we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it's a fun night on Tuesday night. Again, like I said, it's a good grouping between the two teams. I can't even name you all 6 golfers, but I did see it and it looked like I'm like, okay, well at least there's potential for some entertainment with this one. Pebble, people got what they've wanted so long as bad weather and guys having to make golf shots, and that happened on Saturday at Pebble. Kind of shrunk things down. Then it was beautiful on Sunday, and Rory McIlroy said, "I'm the best in the world at this point in time." Scotty's not far off, folks. Just going to throw that out there. Probably still is the best in the world, but Rory reminded everybody when he's on, he's still pretty damn good. So, thoughts on Pebble Beach?
Yeah, I like I said, didn't watch when we were talking earlier. Didn't watch much of Saturday. I watched some of the final round there on Sunday. It looked beautiful, like a beautiful day.
Yeah, it was.
And some of the lines Rory takes on that golf course are just insane. Other guys were doing it too, but it really is too short for him.
Yes, I mean, well, and that's the thing is you talk rollback, but there wasn't many other golfers doing what he could do.
No.
So do you roll everybody back is the question. Right. That's the hard part.
Well, but also too, I mean, there's not much you can do about Pebble lengthening it. They've done all that they can, and it's been around for so long. Like when they designed that place, nobody imagined 350-yard drives. And it is iconic. I'm not saying that the PGA Tour shouldn't go there because I think it should, but it's just one of those places where, in hindsight, being 2020, that's a perfect place for Rory because if he's hitting his driver well, it's like driver, wedge, driver, wedge, driver, wedge, driver, wedge, driver, wedge, 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 wedge.
Well, that's kind of what we said last week. Like if weather's great, about at least a third of the field is just a wedge fest, if not
Right.
more. But like we saw at least the cold weather limited the distance. Saturday was just beautiful from a carnage standpoint. The way the wind was blowing, and the wind was blowing good on Sunday, but not to the same effect as it was because on Saturday you got the wind, you got the overcast, you got the sprinkles coming in, and like there's some pictures that are just you thought you were in Scotland watching golf for a second there. Which brings to the point like, okay, well, if you put a major venue here, problem is the major comes in the middle of summer, and I live over here. You're not getting rain in the middle of summer.
Right.
You might get winds, but it's not the same. So, yeah, it's you get it at the major because it's iconic, like you said earlier. It was good to see Rory win, but
For sure.
because I know we were both just like, no,
Right. He
so
didn't
got
have the
that
course
done.
history there. I mean, like,
Oh, nothing at all. Like he had no reason to really get
right.
behind him unless you just played straight up ownership play. That was it.
Right.
But Scotty, that was good to see. It took him a little bit to get the rust off. He got her done. Ludwig apparently had, F the reporting by the media in golf.
It's ridiculous, man.
I had 40% Ludwig because I thought we'd get him after the incident. And I'm like, what? And he's getting destroyed on the first day. I'm like, that can't be right.
What was the reasoning for WD?
He's still dealing with the flu. It was like that he had in San Diego. Yeah, he's still dealing with they showed pictures. He's having to hydrate, and the same thing we saw in San Diego all over again. I was like, that did not get mentioned once the entire week.
Right.
So yeah, that's just the minor little things there. That was a bit of a annoyance factor on my part.
Right. Yes, 100%.
But other than that, some good golf. Got some big names up there. Got a lot of Euros because of the weather, I would say. And for the most part, business as usual, I would say. I think. All right, let's head to one that we love dearly just because pure entertainment factor, not to mention it leads right into the Super Bowl on Sunday. That is the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Jesse, we have a lot of history here. So what do you got?
Yeah, a lot of it's been played here for a long time at this particular course. But last year, Nick Taylor was the champion, 21 under in a playoff over Charlie Hoffman. 23 was Scotty Scheffler, 19 under, 2 shots over Nick Taylor. 22 was Scotty Scheffler, 16 under in a playoff over Cantlay. Brooks Koepka won for the second time in 2021, 19 under, 1 shot over KH Lee and Xander. Webb Simpson, 2020 champion, 17 under in a playoff over Tony Finau. 2019 was Ricky Fowler, 17 under, 2 shots over Brandon Grace. Gary Woodland, past champion. Hideki, past champion twice, 2016 and 17, back-to-back. And that's pretty much all that really matters.
Yeah, a lot of playoffs here. I think 6 of the last 9 years have resulted in a playoff at this tournament. I remember watching like the Finau one. I think both the Hidekis were playoffs, if I remember correctly. Nick Taylor won in a playoff last year, so it's a very popular thing to do at this event. And then I saw Kenny Kim tweet out, and it got a lot of traction on Sunday and even Monday morning from other golf people. I believe it was 15 of the last, or 13 of the last 16, something like that. Winners here had a top 7 in one of their prior 5 events. So they're coming in playing really good golf, essentially.
Sure.
A lot of great course history to follow here as well. So when we look at the golf course, though, we know the course because of the course history. Waste Management Phoenix Open, a TPC Scottsdale. Almost played that this last winter, but did not. It's a par 71, a little less than 7,300 yards. So not short, but not far because the par 71 does offset things a bit there. It's obviously desert golf. We talk about keep it in the fairway. There is water, though, that comes into play on 6 holes. They use just little ponds. There's the par 5 15th that everyone knows that you definitely have to go. You challenge the water essentially, but it's eagleable. You have the par 4 17th that you can drive the green or roll it off into the water. That's a common thing as well. But it comes into play throughout the golf course. Everyone knows the stadium hole, 16 par 3. So it's 11 par 4s, 4 par 3s, and 3 par 5s. All 3 par 5s are extremely gettable. You have to take advantage of those. The par 3s are tricky. They're longer par 3s. You have to be able to kind of withstand that stuff as well. Excuse me. So that's a key. You just want to be in the fairway. Approach game is very, very important. Again, they're not super long holes, so you have that going for you. Greens are very, very large. They're POA greens. They're 9th largest greens on tour, and they don't run too tricky. Like 12 on the stump is quick, but not super quick, and they're pretty flat. So these guys are making putts from all over the place. One of the easier courses on tour. It's almost, well, it's a TPC. So there you go. It's almost resort course-esque as it comes, but elevation will help the ball travel, so the shorter hitters will be able to pipe it in the desert as well. But for the most part, you're going to bomb it, and then you're going to your approach game and get hot with putter, and that's how it's going to roll. But obviously, a lot of guys like this course, and you got to be able to handle the crowds. That's not the only thing. It's not just going out there and playing. It's a ruckus group. I've been there one time. It was awesome, and that was on Thursday. You can only imagine what the weekends are like when you head into Scottsdale. But bomb it, wedge it, putt it. Sounds simple, but that's kind of the easiest formula here. What are you looking at for stats?
Yeah, I mean, its approach is what matters. Birdie or better, par 5 scoring, plenty of course history. I will say I've heard that it's overrated, so you not playing it, I don't know if you missed that. Don't get me wrong, I would play it, but I think the only time to play it is like a couple weeks before this tournament when they're setting everything up, right? Because when you go play 16, you want to be there
with the stadium,
right?
If it's there, there's nothing standing up. It's like, what's so good about this?
Right.
I'm with you.
That's what I've heard. I mean, like, because it's desert, it's flat, like there's nothing remarkable.
And it's expensive. That's why I was looking at it. And there's so many great courses down in the Scottsdale area. I'm like, I'm going to go over here for like $80 to play like almost a resort course.
Right.
Like we're good. Yeah. And the other thing I was like, because like I don't think it gets enough love, but that 16's got the stadium. 17, the drivable par 4 is almost a stadium now. The way they built the structures on both sides of it, it's like it's a party.
Yeah, it's a great finish for this. Like, because obviously 16 is not a difficult hole for these guys most of the time. It's just you're hitting a pitching wedge, maybe a 9-iron. Some guys hit gap wedge, but you miss the green, and it's tough to kind of get up and down around that green. But also, you're surrounded by 20,000 people, which is abnormal for these guys in a stadium. 17, great risk reward hole, and then 18 is a tough driving hole. So and then uphill approach. It's a great finish, and that's why I think you get so many playoffs here, because there's a lot of opportunity to choke coming down the stretch.
Yeah. A lot of opportunity to choke and a lot of opportunity to gain stuff at the same time. It's kind of a weird angle to go both directions, because when Brooks won it a few years ago, I think he went like 5 under on the final 3 holes or something.
Isn't 15 a par 5?
Yeah, it's a fun par 5 because he has the water all around. It's like you have to challenge the water, and a lot of guys do. But it's like if you got the lead,
not
you
super
lay
long.
Up. Yeah. So most guys will be able, if they're in the fairway, their second shot, they can decide I can be aggressive or not.
Right.
And if you bail left, you're screwed. And if you bail right, you're in the desert. It's a cool setup. Like, it's not a challenging golf course, but it's one that you can go for the gusto and it'll bite you in the butt at the same time if you screw it up. So
yeah,
and that's why I think, even though it's a TPC course, most of the scores are like in the high teens instead of like Kapalua, and we're at 35 under. There's a difference. Now, given Nick Taylor's 23 last year or something, you said.
21.
Yeah, but for the most part, you get the high teens because there are those like, hey, this guy gets doubled this hole because he found the drink, and keeps it kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be high teen scoring. That's for the most part. The 21 by Nick's a little bit of an outlier, and then 28 under is the 4-day. But yeah, it's fun because of the atmosphere. I mean, let's be honest,
100%.
It's not that remarkable of a golf course, besides the fact that what the atmosphere is, which I've heard that they're trying to tone back a little bit this year.
That's what I've heard too. I want to see how they actually pull that one off.
Yeah, me and you both. Which I don't necessarily disagree with, because it's kind of turning into a little bit of a fraternity party.
Yes, because even the year I went, it was crazy, because the year I went was when COVID began, because I remember it was right before COVID hit. It was February, just like this, obviously. I remember flying back. The guy across from me on the plane was just coughing up a lung. I get back, and I rarely get sick, or at least enough to like put me down. I'll just kind of deal with it, take vitamin C's and stuff. This put me down, like not to the level you hear like during the when everything went bad, but I was like, I wanted to lay in bed for a couple of days and not do much. Kind of how it affects people nowadays.
Yeah.
So I've never tested for it, but because they weren't tests then, I figure if I did get it, that was it.
Yeah.
Because it was right out, like the week later they shut everything down, basically.
Yeah. Well, it was the players a couple weeks later, but yeah.
So it was right in that window. I'm like, because I'm in that crowd. But to your point about the chaos, like, I like to have a good time, but I'm also older, so I think I'll sip on a drink. I'll have a couple. Like, I'm not going crazy anymore.
Yeah.
But there's like dudes in between 17 and 18. There's a cool hill you can sit on there and watch the 17th green, and the tee box is on 18. It's really freaking cool. There's dudes just passed out rolling down the hill because they're out cold, and they're almost falling into the water because the water's at the bottom of the hill. Right. It's just like, those guys probably need to go.
It's just a bit much. I guarantee, like, the insurance was like, listen, we're going to raise your rates. This is the stuff we're seeing online is insane. So.
Well, and they have massive concerts every night and stuff. Like there's this gigantic concert venue you have to pay to get into, even though you're already inside, and it's just like a nightclub. So I can only imagine, like it's ridiculous, but it's awesome. I'm glad golf needs to embrace it once in a while. So
for sure. No,
I
think it is fun once a year to do it like this, and maybe even twice or 3 times a year wouldn't be bad, but it does need to be scaled back just a little bit, like just slightly.
For sure. All right, let's talk DK for the week, and it's a doozy because you have our big guy, Scotty Scheffler leading the way here. We got 4 guys over 10,000. Jesse, Scotty Scheffler at 12K, JT at 10.5, Hideki 10.2, Sam Burns up to the 10K range. Outside of Scotty Scheffler, who do you like in this range?
You know,
real quick, I forgot to mention it.
Yeah,
the field is 136 T65s and ties, so it's not like a full field, but rather large.
Sure. Justin Thomas, definitely playable. The course history is good. 12th, 4th, 8th, 13th, 3rd, 17th. And the form coming in is not bad. He had 2nd place at the American Express. He played last week, finished 48th. Not great, but and Hideki, obviously has won this twice. More recently, 22nd, 29th, 8th in the last 3 years. So, we just know how Hideki is. He can literally win, I think, anywhere, any week. It just depends on whether or not he's hitting it to 2 feet or not. So, yeah, I mean, but those would be the other 2 guys that I would play besides Scotty. But I will definitely play Scotty, most likely my 1 or 3 lineups this week.
Yep, Scotty should be played in most lineups, no doubt about it. For me, it's Hideki. At 10-2 would be the guy I go to, coming in great form. Obviously, won in Hawaii. He's won a couple times here. We want that kind of, so he checks the boxes of recent finishing well, course history, 6th on my model. He's actually played enough over the last 24 rounds to actually fit the model. Like we actually have data that's recent we're starting to play with here. So Hideki, 2nd in approach in this field. You look even farther. He's, do I even have the right model up here? Yeah, I do. Okay, son of a gun. Yeah, he's got the approach game down. He's got the DK scoring down, which we're looking for this week. He's 5th on the shorter par 4. So everything you want from Hideki is something I'm definitely excited about here. I don't mind Sam Burns if you want more for the history he has at this golf course, but other than that, it's pretty much Hideki. It's Scotty. And I think you just got to kind of stick there and see where it goes for sure. All righty. Now there's my updated. Yeah, something was wrong with my deal. So 12th. Okay. All right. 9K range. Sorry about that. Sung JM, $9,800. Corey Connors, 97. Tom Kim, 96. Sahith Tagala, 95. Seth Straka almost went with another one, 94. Rasmus Hogard, 92. Benyon, 91. And Bobby Mack at 9,000. Big 9K range here. What stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, Sung Jae, 9,800. Never missed a cut here since 2019. There was one year this was an elevated event, wasn't there?
The very first year of elevated events, it was, yes.
Yeah. And so, but a couple top 10s in there too. Most recently, 2023, finished 6th. Coming off a 33rd last week, 4th at the Farmers. So he's playing mighty fine. Corey Connors at 97. 5 out of 5 made cuts here, coming off a 65th last week. So back 4th of the field or worse. But anyways, so I think he's fine. It's just a matter of he's never really had the success. So he's just GPP only. And when I say success at this course, I mean, his best finish is 17th. So it's not like he's lighting it up. And it's one of those courses where you do have to be able to make a lot of putts, and that can kind of be Corey's downfall sometimes. Thigala, 5th year last year, 39th the year before that, and 3rd the year before that. I like Thigala quite a bit, even though coming in, I mean, his best finish this year is 36th. So the form is not great. He did play a lot of the fall events and had a couple top 10s back then. So back to a place that he does like quite a bit. And then Sepp at 9,400. It's just simply off recent form because the course history is 66 miscut. He hasn't played here since 2022, but come off a 7th place finish last week, won the American Express, 30th, Sony, 15th Century. So worst finish this year is 30th in this calendar year in January there. So he's playing a lot. playing very well. Hard to fade Sep. And then Bobby Mack at 9,000. Missed the cut here last year, but coming off a 40th last week, just been playing really solid golf. Really since the fall. He's just basically staying pretty stable and having some decent finishes. 15th at the Century. Made the cut at the Sony, and then 40th last week, so about mid-pack. But Bobby Mack, I think, would be interesting because I think he's kind of a guy who will embrace the lunacy of the place.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. It definitely makes a sense to the lunacy of the place. I'm with you there. For me in the 9K range, it's Sung Jae. It's like, can he close as the $1 million question? Because he's approaching that 10K range. He's been very, very close, which we like. He's 8th in good drives in this field. He can scramble to kind of avoid the big number. He's 19th in birdie or better. Like, he's playing really well, but his overall numbers over the last 24 rounds he's 58th in this field. Doesn't look great. I'll have a couple sprinkles of him, but I want some Tom Kim, and I'm afraid he's going to be chalky is the problem. But he's 7th in my model. Played great last week. When we look at the history here with good old Tom Kim, he finished 17th here last year after 50th in his debut. Again, 7th last week, which is a positive sign. This is a guy that wasn't playing great for a while, but we know he can play really well. He's 9th on approach over his last 24 rounds. He's 4th from 150 to 175. So you're talking about that medium approach length. Pretty decent in the par 4 scoring. So don't mind some Tom Kim if he's right on while he's hot. Sahith has been amazing here. Like, he's been great. 95. Sepp Straka, the way he's striking the golf ball right now, you can't ignore him at 94. History here is not great. Hasn't played the last 2 years. 66th back in 2022 after 2 missed cuts. So he hasn't really played well, but 7th, 1st, 30th, 15th is four events this start of the year. So definitely don't mind Sepp. He's 7th in this field in DK scoring, 12th birdie or better. Rates out pretty well across the board. That's about it for me. Like, I want to click the Bobby Mack button, but I'm very, very nervous to click the Bobby Mack button. But when he gets going and he's young, he might actually embrace this, as you were talking about. So I could see some Bobby Mack. All right. 8K range. We got Kurt Kitayama at 89, Matt McNeely at 88, Jordan Spieth at 87, Max Grieserman at 86, who withdrew on Sunday from the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. No word of why. I think it's a hand injury, actually. Wyndham Clark at 85, Nick Taylor 84, Luke Clanton 83, Ash K 82, who withdrew last week as well. Cam Young 81, JT Poston and Siwoo Kim at 8,000. What are you looking at in the 8K range?
Start with Kitayama at 8,900, 8th and 23rd in his last 2 starts at this event. Did miss the cut at the Farmers, but shot 79 on Thursday, which was the second round when things were just absolutely just insane as far as weather goes. And before that, 58th, 37th, 5th, 9th in his last 4 starts. So playing solid golf. Nick Taylor, past champion, defending champion, finished 2nd the year before that he won. So 1st and 2nd in his last 2 years at this event. I'm not saying he's going to win, but playing solid golf. He won the Sony Open, 12th at the American Express, 33rd last week. So Nick is playing very well. Luke Clanton at 8,300. The model does like him. I think a lot of it has to do with kind of the fall swing and how good he played then. But either way, his last start was the Farmers, finished 15th. So Luke may be one of those kind of young guys too, who again kind of embraces the. I don't really know his personality. I could be wrong about that.
College kid, at least.
Yeah, I mean, at least used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
The environment. So I think Siwoo's interesting. 4 straight made cuts at this place, including a 12th place last week. Or last week and last year. So back-to-back, or 12th at the event, 12th last week. So there you go.
Yeah, this is an interesting range. Like, I guess I like a lot, but I'm not in love with a lot here. Like Kitayama, he's 2nd in my model. He's 4th on approach. He's like top 20 in proximity. He's 2nd in par 5 scoring in this field. Maybe that's why he does so well. He's 20th in the longer par 4s. You mentioned his past history here, so it's hard to ignore him. Putting is always his weakness, but if it's easy to putt here, there you go. McNeely, 17th in my model. Obviously, his putting acumen won't play as well here, but he's a birdie machine, 15th in his field and birdie or better, good on the longer par 4s and par 5s. Drazerman rates out well, but I don't know how his health is. Keep an eye on that. Nick Taylor's current history and current form is pretty lights out good. Love Luke Clanton, 4th in my model, so I'm with you there. He's 1st off the tee, 4th ball striking, 3rd in birdie or better, 3rd in DK scoring, 6th in the par fives. Dude, he just lights out everywhere. One thing he sucks at is around the green, which shouldn't be as bad here, actually, to be honest, but could be. So Luke Clanton, 83, is another one. And then like Siwoo, who had a big week last week, and he's always boom or bust at $8,000 at this event. 12th last year, 23rd, 26th, 50th. So 26th or better in the 3 straight years at $8,000. You could do worse, especially for a guy that can pop at any moment. 12th last week after missing the cut at the Farmers. The other guy I'll mention is JT Poston. He's 12th in my model. He's missed 2 straight cuts here, but then 23rd, 11th, 37th. So again, another GPP type play. Coming in 53rd at AT&T, within 12th at the Amex, missed cut of the Sony, 45th, 5th. Again, boomer bust, GPP type play with Poston. Won't have a ton, but someone else to mention if you guys want a couple pivots off of Clanton, who I think should be popular, and for a good reason should be popular. But if you need some pivots, you can go a little lower to one of them if you choose. All right, 75 to 79, you got JJ Spawn, Minwoo Lee, David Thompson, Bo Hostler, Matt Fitzpatrick, Harry Hall, Ricky Fowler, Billy Ho, Sam Stevens, Austin Eckroat, Keith Mitchell, Andrew Novak. Like, I like this range almost better than the 8K range. But what do you like here?
Definitely some plays. Minwoo, 71st here last year, but 17th last week. And it been taking some time off. He hadn't played since the DP World Tour Championship, where he finished 24th. So he's doesn't have a whole lot of recent rounds, except for the obviously last week. So I think he'll go under-owned and overlooked. Harry Hall at 7,700, 41st year last year, and just continues to make cuts, cash checks on the PGA Tour. His start to the season is pretty good. 58th last week, not great, but he did shoot 71 or better every round at Pebble or Spyglass, and they're up to that 58th place finish, which isn't ideal, but still he's playing really, really solid golf. Billy Horschel had a great week last week, finished 9th, and that was with the 66 on Sunday. 21st American Express, played here a lot, hasn't missed a cut since before 2018. Best finish was 6th in 2022. Sam Stevens, other guy who's playing really good right now. 28th here last year, 17th last week, 2nd at the Farmers. So back-to-back top 20s for him. And then Novak at 7,500, 8th here last year, and 13th last week, 3rd at the Farmers. So those are 2 guys right there, Sam Stevens and Andrew Novak, who have really played well the last couple of events, and have some pretty good course history too, and just one start, obviously, but still.
Yeah, no, that's why I kind of like this range. Is if you're a believer in current form and history, there's some big play here. But let's pivot real quick. A guy that does not play well here but has really good current form is JJ Spawn. He's 13th in my model, and another GPP type play, like a 6th approach, which we're talking about here. 14th in DK scoring, plays relatively well on the par 5s and par 4s, but it's like he's missed 2 straight cuts here. He made the cut back in 2020. That's not ideal. Again, different JJ Spawns throughout this time. 33rd at Pebble Beach, 15th at Farmers, 29th at Amex, 3rd at Sony. Great start to the year at $7,900. He's gained 17.4 strokes total in this span. So I don't mind some JJ Spawn. Just know the course history is not ideal. Some other guys, though, Davis Thompson, he's played well here before. He's a guy that attacks par 5s, another GPP type play. Matt Fitzpatrick coming in weird form, to say the least. Finished 48th at Pebble, 24th of the Century. Been playing more Euro golf, but 15th, 29th, 10th. He's played great here. 3 tournaments, phenomenal here. So if you want to go to Fitzpatrick at 77, I almost call him Fitzmagic out of habit, but Fitzpatrick at 77 could be a nice low-owned play, because like a lot of people will go to Harry Hall, and I like it, don't mind it, but a pivot to Fitzpatrick can be a nice little move there. Billy Ho has been playing great golf. His approach game's awesome. Played really well on Pebble, $7,600, and he's made at least 4 straight cuts here: 41st, 32nd, 6th, 53rd, 9th, coming in phenomenal form. So don't mind Billy Ho. And then I'm with you, Sam Stevens. He's 27th in my model. Love him. Love Novak. He's 10th in my model. Playing great golf, as you mentioned. And I'll mention Austin Eckroat at $7,500. He's 19th in my model. He's 3rd on the longer par 4s. He's 9th on the shorter par 4s. So plays all those really, really well. He's 11th in DK scoring. So he can get birdies in bunches. Missed the cut here last year. Finished 64th in 2022. But recent form, 13th at Pebble, miscut at the Farmers, miscut at the Sony, 15th of the Century, 17th at the RSM. So he's got 3 top 17s and 2 miscuts. That is a GPP play if I've ever seen one. And he goes for big-time DK points like Sam Stevens. That's 2 things they do very well. When they do make it to the weekend, they score a ton of DK points. So I like both of them for sure. All right, 7,400 to 7K starts with Lucas Glover and Tom Hoagie and wraps up with Mackenzie Hughes and Matt Wallace. So who do you like here, Jesse?
Yeah, Hoagie at 7,400, 17th here last year, missed the cut the year before that, 14th miscut, 25th, 43rd miscut. So he's kind of up and down, but he hasn't missed a cut since the Shriners back in October. 17th last week at Pebble. Charlie Hoffman finished second here last year. He is, I believe, sponsored by Waste Management.
Yes,
still.
He is. Born and raised.
So he embraces it and has a good time this week, I'm sure. He's only missed 1 cut since 2018, 2021. His best finish was last year at second at this event. 25th last week, or his last time out at the Farmers. 5th at the American Express. So he's got some pretty good form coming in to back that second place finish last week. Gary Woodland, past champion here. More recently, he's not had great form or it hasn't played very well at this event. But 22nd last week, 16th at the Sony. So I think he's got some pretty good form coming up. I think it's going to be a pretty good year for Gary. Nikolai Højgaard at 7,000, dude bombs it. Hasn't played since early December, but I think he could be a sneaky play. Mac Mesner at 7,000, never played here, but has played a bunch of events this year, and you could do worse at 7,000. Nick Dunlap, he actually won in the desert last year at the American Express, a little bit of a different desert, but still desert golf or similar. And so he's never played here, but I think he's a guy who, especially coming in 58th last week, 34th American Express, 34th and 10th in his last 3 starts. So pretty solid for Nick Dunlap there at 7,000.
Yeah, I'll add a few names to yours. I do like Tom Hoagie as well. Doesn't rate out great in my model, but we're talking approach history here and whatnot. It looks great. But the same price, $7,400. Lucas Glover is 3rd in my model. He's 1st over the last 24 rounds in approach in this field. He's like 13th from 150 to 175. He's 10th on the shorter par 4s. Recent form here. Didn't play last year, but the 39th, 37th, 58th. Not phenomenal finishes. Last week, 3rd at Pebble. Miscut the Amex, 21st Sony Open, 30th RSM. So Glover at 74 could be a nice play. Berger is starting to get going. So at 74, it's going to keep sprinkling him in my lineups because eventually he's going to pop, like we say every week. Feels like it's getting close for Berger to put together some big boy stuff. I was shocked to see Ben Griffin at $7,300. I really was. I know he was more expensive recently, and he's kind of petered off in recent weeks, but still 69th at Pebble, miscut at Farmers, 7th at Amex, 46th, 15th. So he's not dominating like he once was in the fall swing, but I'll take the discount guy. Finished 28th here last year. Same with Tomas Dietrich, finished 28th here last year. I'll take Ben Griffin all day in this price range, and I'll mention his name again later in the show, I think. So I do like Ben Griffin on this one. And a few others, like Harmon's got great course history if you trust him. Charlie Hoffman, I love. He's 5th in my model. It's not just the waste management history. He's actually playing really good golf, like you mentioned. So 8th in approach, 10th from 150 to 175, so on and so forth. So I like Hoffman. Dougie Gim's 11th in my model. If you want to go that direction, it's mainly because of his approach game. The thing is, he's not scoring. He's 102nd in this field in birdie or better. You need to go low here, would be my biggest concern. Always like Mark Hubbard in tournaments on a birdie fest potential. He's always got that boomer bust. Lee Hodges, 14th in my model, $7,100. Pissed all the people off last week that hate chalk because he was so cheap, and that's why you played him, because he was so cheap. He played pretty well until he imploded on 18. Problem is he's missed both cuts here, if you want to follow that narrative. He's also 33rd, 9th, 34th, 10th, 5th, playing great golf. Lee Hodges for $7,100. Eric Cole at 71. He's coming in playing good golf once again, so another guy I wouldn't mind. A lot of boomer bust birdie making machines down here. Like and you mentioned Woodland, he's 9th in my model, so I'll highlight that for you as well. He's 3rd in this field on par 5s the last 24 rounds, and 4th from 400 to 450. Does have a lot of history at this course as well, so don't hate Gary Woodland either. 6K range, where are you going?
Bud Colley at 69. 3 straight made cuts for him at this event. His best finish was 25th in 2020. He took there was some time between 24, which was last year, obviously, and 2020. But anyways, made the cut last year. And last start was the Sony Open, finished 30th. Had a pretty good fall swing as well. Jake Knapp absolutely bombs it, $6,800, 28th at this event last year, coming off a 33rd last week. Webb Simpson has won this event, I think, twice, just the one time in 2020, and hasn't missed a cut in 4 straight appearances. Well, they're not straight, but anyways, hasn't played here since 23, but does have a win, coming off a 16th place finish at the Sony Open. I mean, Webb used to be, just as well as I do, almost a plug and play and cash every week because he was making a cut and cashing a check. And I don't know what happened to his game, but maybe he's going to make a comeback a little bit this year. Hayden Springer at 6,400, never played here, but 6th his last time out at the Farmers, 30th RSM, which was back in the fall. So pretty solid start to the year for Hayden as well.
Yeah, the Gary or the Webb Simpson thing is bonkers. That's for sure. Sometimes you just get old and lose it. That's how it works.
I guess, yeah.
Patrick Rogers, everybody. Just going to bring this one up and put it on top of the table here. He didn't play here last year, 14th in 2023. Miscut, 16th. That is the P-Rog effect in a nutshell.
And 3 straight miscuts before that.
Yeah. Great finishes or see ya. That is him. It makes it easy to root for, actually. You just don't have to worry about him. But coming in 22nd at Pebble, of course, he likes and plays well. 56th at Farmer, that was a Carnage week. 70th at American Express, miscut at Sony. 17th at the RSM. If you want to sprinkle some at 69, probably not a lot of dudes in the 6K range that you've seen with multiple top 20s. Just going to throw that out there at this event. Just something. Hadwin's a similar guy playing horrible golf. At least Rogers is playing good golf at this point in time. Seabez at $6,900. I do not know how he is this price outside of maybe not playing here regularly. 28th here last year, miscut in 2023, his 2 trips to the desert. And he's coming to the 40th at Pebble. Kind of fell apart over the weekend. Really was playing well into that. Miscut at the Amex, 40th at Century. I'll take my chances at 69. Love Jake Knapp at 69. Like you mentioned, he's probably my favorite out of the 3 I just mentioned there. Dropping down, if you want to go back to Nico Echeverria, who's playing great golf, kind of fell off the last couple, go for it. Frankie Cappan, I'm going to keep playing him, $6,800. Corn Ferry beast. He finished 45th at Sony, 12th at Amex, 56th at Farmers. He can throw darts for birdies. That's what you want for a Corn Ferry type guy. One that I've been struggling with here is Adam Schenk, $6,600, 25th at Farmers with Drew at the Amex, 6th at the Sony. So playing really well here in the fall, but it's like, okay, do I buy into it? Then you look at recent form at this tournament, 17th, 23rd before a slew of miscuts. But he's played well here the last 2 times, and he's coming in pretty decent form, and he's $6,600. Pretty hard to ignore Schenk at that point. Sam Ryder, he's missed cut last year, but then 20th, 23rd, he's coming in with decent form. Lanto Griffin's got decent form. Joel Dahman has got decent form if you want to go really deep here. I'm trying not to go past Schenk, but a couple others if you need them. All right, let's recap things, Jesse. 10K and above, not named Scotty Scheffler.
I'll say JT, so you can say Hideki.
I'll say Hideki. Thank you. 9K range.
Sahith.
Yeah, 9K range. I'm going to go with Tom Kim. I'll stick to my guns on that one. 8K range. I like this.
Luke Clanton.
Yeah, Clanton's a dude for sure. Going to be popular, but I like that. For me, to be a little different, I'll go Kitayama. He's second in my model. Go Kitayama. Clanton's 4th. 75 to 79.
Harry Hall.
This is where it gets really interesting because Fitz rates, he plays well, but doesn't rate out well here. I'm going to go with Novak at 75. He's 10th in my model. 7K to 74.
Charlie Hoffman.
Yeah, I'll go Lucas Glover at 74. And then 6K range.
Jake Knapp.
Yeah, Knapp is probably the best one that we discussed here. I'll go Adam Schenk. Like, he rates out so bad, but he's played pretty well lately. It's bizarre world we live in. But give me Adam Schenk at $6,500. All right, if you're starting on a cash lineup, Jesse, where are you starting?
I'd probably go. I know Sepp doesn't necessarily have the course history that's usually like, but he's playing so well. Sepp Straka, Charlie Hoffman, and that Nick Taylor.
Yeah, I would legit go like Billy Horschel, Charlie Hoffman, and like Lucas Glover. Give me those three. They're all in the mid 7K ranges. You could probably put Scotty in there and still have an okay lineup, all things considered. Might do that for GPP too. Where are you looking at in tournaments to start out?
I like Scotty, Sahith, and Højgaard.
Okay, yes, that's
Nikolai,
probably,
that is Nick.
Yeah, good job. We actually have to like narrate that this week for once. To be different, do a non-Scotty lineup, even though I think I'm doing 20 max. I'll probably have at least 12 or 13 Scotty lineups. I won't go full Scotty, but I'll have over 50% for sure. For me, I'll go Tom Kim with Kurt Kitayama and Lucas Glover. So that's like 3 of my top 7 golfers in my model. If I'm trusting things here, that's where we're going. All right, who you got winning this thing?
Scotty Scheffler
minus. Oh, that's top 20 odds I had up there. I was like, holy
I mean,
shit.
it's almost.
Yeah,
he's only
plus 280.
I mean, basically 3-1. That's just.
He's minus 700 to top 20.
Utter insanity that he's 3-1 to win a golf.
You can't even like parlay him with like a Chiefs money line or something to get great money for it.
No, you couldn't. I did.
Yeah, you showed me that one.
Well, last week, obviously, that didn't work out very well. I parlayed Scotty with Kentucky to win against Tennessee, and that got it to like 20, I think 24 or something like that to 1, which was nice until he didn't win. So I got nothing back. But this week I have a similar parlay, which is Scotty, Kansas tonight, and Kentucky tomorrow night. So that gets to almost 15-1.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so it's a little bit better. But otherwise, if we do a non-Scotty bets to win, Sepp Straka at 40-1. I mean, 60-1 Nick Taylor. I'm just kind of looking at some value here of dudes who, I mean, Jordan Spieth at 65.
Dude,
I'm not saying he's going to win, but this just seems a little bit like Billy Horschel at 70.
I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
The form, I think when he gets hot, he goes in streaks. So I don't hate that.
I'm going to uncheck Jordan Spieth, especially after that reaction you just gave me. So
because watching him last week, man, did you see the picture on Twitter of his caddy Gerald just looking over the ocean?
Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a waste of money, but I'm just saying, like, you never know. He's
got phenomenal history here, like great history here,
right? And plus, it's Jordan Spieth. I mean,
yeah.
We keep thinking that he's going to figure it out, just like Ricky and just like Justin Thomas.
True.
It's obviously Smiley Kaufman never figured it out after the 2015 spring break trip to the Bahamas.
Ollie just won it in Asia.
Who?
Ollie Schneiderjans just won in Asia. Yeah, in the Asian tour. We're going to talk about LIV in a second.
Was that the same event that
Bryson was at? No, different event. We're going to talk about all that in a minute. I forgot to bring it up early, so I got that marked here to mention just briefly after we talk bets.
Okay, so that's where I'm at. So I'll go Sepp, Nick Taylor, Billy Horschel.
All right, now I wrote down. I actually prepped and wrote down things I like here in the top 20 world. So you can pick and choose. Like, if you want to just go plus 200 guys, like I usually do, Glover, Stevens, Novak, Eckroat, like them all. They go from plus 200 to 250. But if you want to go value here, Charlie Hoffman's plus 300.
Yeah.
Even Kuchar's plus 300. Like, he can easily, boringly, like, finish 13 under in this event and be a top 20. Wouldn't shock me. But if you don't like that, let's get deep. Seabass is plus 360. Cappen's plus 450. Adam Shank's plus 500. He's finished 17th and 23rd here the last 2 years. So if you want to go value hunting, those are some I circled. Otherwise, you can go with the boring plus 200s to 250s, and I think you'll be just fine. But this is an event where you can use the course history. Like, Novak's playing such great golf at plus 225. You know, and it's golf, anything can happen, but I'd like to ride that hot streak as long as I can, type thing. So, all right. Now I want to ask you some more fun because I forgot to mention it earlier. So we saw Bryson and company in India, and they had crowds they've never seen before. It was actually kind of cool to see. So he's growing the game. Yeah, and he was there with, I think, Neiman and some others were there. Then there's the Asian Tour where a lot of the LIV guys play because Ollie is an alternate on the Asian qualifying school, or for the LIV qualifying school. So he goes to play Asian Tour events to stay loose. So Ollie won his first event since forever. That was wild. So you can
Okay.
comment on those if you want. But the other question I have for you is, Live Golf is on Fox now. It starts Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern on FS2, and it's going to be under the lights in Saudi Arabia, their whole tournament. I'm actually excited to watch that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I saw that today.
Well, because I can find it on TV.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if assuming you have FS2,
That's true. It's true.
I don't even. I'm sure that's not going to be something that YouTube suggests that I watch, but
True.
so I'm going to have to dig to find it. But yeah, that's so it's during the day on Thursday.
10 a.m. They're showing it live because it's at night there, so it's live here. 10 a.m. Eastern. It's gonna be live under the lights, and I think it's Saudi. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's different, so I'll give them that.
Especially when the PGA Tour Golf Channel won't have the Waste Management on for 5 more hours, so you're good.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. That's definitely intriguing. I'll say that.
Yeah,
Are they just playing 3 rounds though? Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Of course, because they gotta fly back for their Super Bowl parties and all that kind of stuff. It's just how they work.
Wouldn't want to preempt the Super Bowl with the Live Golf event there. Well, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That's definitely interesting because that'll be different to play fully under the lights like that. That will.
Yeah, they got some tweets out there showing like JD or DJ was over there playing. That Rick Shields guy or whoever they hired to do their social media stuff now. He did like a whole round on their YouTube under it. It looks pretty sweet. I'll say that much.
Hatton 6-1 to win that event.
Dude, he just won like a race to Dubai, but he's locked in right now.
That's crazy.
He's second in Euro Ryder Cup points because he's playing that well on the DP tour when he's over there.
Crazy. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. It'll be interesting to see that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
They should bring the glow balls out and just play glow ball.
No, fuck it. No. I did that one time, and I was scared to hit any of my clubs because I thought I was going to break stuff. It's the worst thing ever. Like, the concept seems fun and exciting, but that is horrible.
The ball doesn't go anywhere. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's the worst. But all right. We'll wrap it up there. But yes, Bryson in India was the only thing I'm surprised we never saw. We never saw him on an elephant. That shocked me. I figured he'd do that in a heartbeat, like just to sell more YouTube.
Yeah, I could definitely see.
I could see Bryson out there easily, still in all his gear.
100%. Yes.
That did not happen.
Yes.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. It's fun in golf right now. We got a bunch going on, so we'll see where it goes. Football's wrapping up. Jesse's loving his basketball. Luka Doncic and AD broke the internet Saturday night. Holy crap, that was nuts.
Yeah.
The only reason I care is I play NBA DFS, but that was nuts. So yeah, we'll see what goes on. But next week, I think we go to back to Torrey for the Genesis.
Correct.
Next week we go back to Torrey. We'll see how many guys show up since it is an elevated event for Eldrick. So we might actually got guys not bowing out. We'll see how that goes. But until then, check out Jesse on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods, the podcast at Always Press DFS. I'm at BD Entrick, and this was your 2025 Waste Management Phoenix Open Preview. Catch you all next time.